How's it going? Nice to see you again from a fresh and it's not raining sort of afternoon on the Isle of Wight. Back for a beach talk. Thank you for joining me as always. Now, when I climbed Aconcagua in Argentina way back in 2004, I had a moment of just being completely caught out when it came to having our kit prepared to go on the mules that took our gear up to base camp. Now, we had a 3-day hike up a valley to really acclimatise as well, and our guides did not want us to be carrying much weight. So everything had to go on the mules. Now, we had to quickly reorganise our bags because you got a couple of things that maybe crampons and ice axe and a few other kind of things that if they're going to go on a mule, if they're not wrapped up properly, either your gear's going to get destroyed or you're going to hurt the animal. Now, this required us to, as quickly as we could, get 2 of our duffel bags organised really quickly. And myself and 2 of the guys, when our lead guide came in, our stuff was everywhere. And we were way behind, we were holding up the whole thing. And he just gave us a bit of a stern, guys, you really need to get on with this, which we did, because we were holding up the show. And as we had every evening, we always had a really good briefing at the end of the day. And at the end of that day, in this beautiful valley, our guide basically just sat us down and said, these things went well, these things didn't go well. And he described what he came into in this small warehouse where the muladors were getting stocked up. Described what he saw as a clusterfuck. And he just went on to explain that we had to learn from this, that the way we had our gear organised was not good, and the higher up the mountain we went, that we had to be really on top of this, because if we weren't, it wasn't going to leave us in a good position. We had to get on top of our gear, and that was the last clusterfuck he wanted to see. And it was just great, clear, objective advice. It was fantastic, really. I mean, it was uncomfortable to hear it, but we learned a new process of just getting our gear organised when it was needed, how quickly we had to be ready, all that stuff. And sure enough, there was one time we were going up towards Camp 2 on the mountain where we had to turn around in a snowstorm, come back down and put our tents up in a snowstorm, that we were now relying on the learnings from right back in the comfort of someone's warehouse as to where our gear was and what we were going to do with it. Now, when it comes to many years later, 20 years later, when I'm working with businesses, quite often I come across, when I'm working with someone for the first time, what I would describe as a clusterfuck. Numbers are all over the place, fired into zero, forecast a bit haphazard, and it's just so nice to draw on my experience with Aconcagua in that the same way that our guide sat us down and said, right guys, that's not good enough, we're going to have to improve on things very quickly. Just apply the same approach. It's fantastic, really. You can just see people who are overwhelmed with numbers and it's just a complete mess. But they're planning for growth. Same way that we're going up the mountain, they're planning for things to get bigger, grow faster, more customers, more transactions, more something. It's not going to go the other way. And it's become a really nice kind of base for how I work with people, is to, first of all, identify this as a clusterfuck, but also be able to bring a bit more structure to improving the systems to avoid it happening again. Benefits the bookkeepers, admin teams, senior members of the teams, benefits the CEO as well. And in turn, the board and any other investors who want to do due diligence when they take a look under the hood and they see what's going on. So I thought I'd share that with you. If you've got a clusterfuck in your business or you've cleaned some up in your time, I'd love to hear your examples. As always, thanks for listening and I'll see you on the next one. Cheers for now.